Welcome to Manna at the Tap, a podcast from Tapestry Ministries. Each episode reflects on a daily Bible reading from the Revised Common Lectionary. I'm Gloria, a fellow traveler on a spiritual journey with the Tapestry community, and we call the daily Bible reading our spiritual manna. Just as manna sustained the Israelites in the desert, our daily reading nourishes our souls, fostering spiritual growth as we share insights and interpretations that enrich our spiritual lives. Today is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, in the fifth week of Easter. The lectionary reading is the final thread weaving in and out of the story of King Saul, Israel's first king, and his relationship with his eldest son, Jonathan. It's also the story of Saul's relationship with the young man named David, anointed and chosen by God to replace him, and the BFF, Best Friends Forever friendship between Jonathan and David. In the May 19th, 2025 podcast, Jonathan and David parted ways because Jonathan agreed with David that his father, King Saul, openly spoke of wanting to kill David. They hugged and wept, going their separate ways, not realizing that would be the last time they would see each other. The lectionary reading is from chapter 1 of the Old Testament book of 2 Samuel. David had been at war and was taking a break when he saw a man coming toward him in the distance, his clothes torn and dirt on his head, indicating the man was mourning. When David inquired where the man was coming from, he told David that King Saul, along with three of his sons, were dead. David was in shock as the man described how Saul was leaning on his spear, and as the enemy's war chariots were closing in on him, he asked the man to kill him because he was in such terrible pain. David was overwhelmed with grief at the deaths of Saul and Jonathan. In that moment, he and his men tore their clothes and they wept all day, refusing to eat. Israel had lost the battle against their enemy. Their king and his sons all died on the same day. That day, David offered a poignant lament in the form of a poem expressing his deep feelings for King Saul and his son Jonathan. He chose to eulogize the two men side by side, honoring King Saul, even though King Saul wanted him dead. David's mourning cry for them is raw and painful. He had the opportunity on more than one occasion to kill King Saul, but he chose instead only to cut a piece of Saul's garment off. His band of soldiers tried to convince him to kill Saul, but David refused, reminding them that Saul was God's anointed king. Now, on hearing of Saul's death, David is innocent and unscathed. The lament over Saul and Jonathan is a powerful and passionate expression of grief. David lived through Saul's emotional instability and he deeply loved Jonathan. In the poem, David urged that no one tell the enemy what happened to King Saul, lest the enemy celebrate and jump for joy. He went on to curse the mountain region where Saul died, and he prayed they would experience no rain or other moisture to grow the vegetation because he wanted nature to express sorrow over the fallen King Saul. David called on the professional mourning women. They are a group of women hired to mourn at funerals and other public events to shed many tears for the king because he had helped their economy, even providing the women with luxury items such as fine red cloth and gold jewelry. David hailed Jonathan and his father as fearless and relentless warriors. Even though Saul threw his javelin at Jonathan when Jonathan defended David's absence from a dinner, David sang of them as undivided soulmates in life and death. He called them beloved and lovely. David's profound grief is for Jonathan, who was pleased that David would succeed his father, even though the throne was Jonathan's by birthright. Jonathan loved David, and it was beyond anything that David had ever experienced. His love expressed itself in his surrender of any claim to the throne, and all he asked of David was that he would not destroy his family when he came to the throne. And David kept that promise to Jonathan's family. The poem ends with these words: "How the mighty have fallen." Words matter, and it is not always easy to find the right words that will let us genuinely express the grief, guilt, and possible fear we are feeling. David knows he is the next king, but he takes the time to linger over the lives of King Saul and his son Jonathan. What might we learn from this ancient poem? I think David teaches us to notice, acknowledge, respect, and take time to be naked in our grief, and to face death realistically, and to take the time not to move too quickly to joy and praise after a severe loss.